HO Talk Show.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Tell a friend, I am HO Talk Show. Sir Charles.
Razor.
In the booth, in the building, one more again. Back like we never left, Razor.
Yeah.
I mean, you know how we do. We got to do it for the people, man. I'm so excited, Razor.
Yeah.
Per usual, man. This is just a great time in the city. Man, so much going on. Shouts out to all the folks doing the good back to school stuff, all the drives. And make sure y'all go out right now as we speak live on air over at the Boys and Girls Club. Shouts out to 100 Cuts and all the partners that help put that together. There's everything for the kids: music, games, food, haircuts, braiding, and it's all free. It's all to celebrate our youngins, let them know that we here for them. We got they back.
Yeah.
And man, you know, we got that going on, Razor. I mean, it's so much, but we are also approaching yet another Soul of Seville.
How many years is it now?
What we on? We on 4?
4, 5?
It's the 4th. I think it's the 4th.
Yeah, okay.
And, you know, I know Jaquan or Kalila are gonna smack me, but I think it's 4. I hope I got it right. Yeah. But you know, but as we always said, man, like why not us? Why not now?
That's
why
right.
not? Right.
That's
so
right.
this is for us. When
I like
say
your
us,
energy today, Sir Charles.
I appreciate you, brother.
Yeah. I like that. It must be because the family in the booth.
Hey, bro. When the folks can see it online right now,
they can see it.
But the folks in radio land, like once y'all know who we got in the booth, then you're gonna know, well, my energy got to be up, because that's the aura she brings. You know what I'm saying? So, and that's why we talking about the Soul of Seville. You know, brought to you by 101 Jams and Chic and Classy Imaging, Beyond Fitness, X Park next weekend, starting on Friday the 16th, going through the 17th. It's so much going on, and again, it's for us, by us.
Boo boo.
Don't forget that. That's the most important part. And our guest, without further ado, right now, it's been a while since she's
bring her out.
Since she's bring them out. It's been a while since she graced the IMHO airwaves, but you know, but we've been keeping tabs. We've been making sure she's been about the business, and none other than Lady Taij. Taij, happy Sunday.
Thank you. It feels so great to be here. I actually feel so at home here. You know what I mean?
You should.
Feel good.
You family.
You come back home.
That's
you know
right. That's right.
So, Razor, Taij was one of our first guests.
Yes.
When we were in our infancy stage, helping to start 101 Jams and figuring out what this IMHO thing was gonna, look like. She was one of the early guests. So Taij, we're a lot more polished now, so don't hold that against me. You know?
I love it. I see.
You see the growth.
Yes, you did. So Lady Taij, for those that don't know, you took a little hiatus from the music thing, like you've grown in so many areas since we last spoke, but you are back with another offering to the music world called The Awakening, correct?
Yes.
Lady Taij. So let's go ahead. We're gonna get into the background.
Okay.
But since folks know Lady Taij, The Awakening, go ahead and plug that thing. Let them know if it's available, where it's available. Shout out the credits. So who helped put it together?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So The Awakening is my latest EP that actually just dropped last Wednesday. So I'm just so glad that the time is here to just, put a project together and, get back into the business in the music world. I have been working on this project for some time. And I want to go ahead and shout out one of the main producers on there, which is Kelis Kasike, my homie from Atlanta. I met him when I was in Atlanta. But yeah, no, it just feels so good. So you can go check out the project. It's anywhere that you listen to music, wherever you're streaming, you can go ahead and peep the project. But it's really just kind of my introduction back into putting music out, you know what I mean? And getting back into the space. So this is really just like waking the streets up, you know what I'm saying? So it's just like, all right, this is the awakening. It's time to pay attention. And, we back out here and we back at it like we never left.
Now, what kept you going all that time? Because like Charles said, like you were one of the first artists to come on here and talk with us. And what I remember back then was your undeniable belief in your talent. You know what I'm saying? Like you were your own advocate. Some time has passed and you took a hiatus and then you came back to it. So what about you made you keep pushing forward?
Well, the interesting thing is that a few things. One, when the pandemic hit, that's when I had kind of like, went inside a little bit. But I was still creating music. So I never ever stopped making music. I just kind of stopped doing shows and putting music out as heavily as I was before.
Okay.
But I used that time to really just like sharpen my skills and really just like lock in on the craft. And also do some healing.
Stop right there. What does that look like? I never heard another artist say, I took time to sharpen my skills.
Yeah.
What does that look like?
Yeah. Well, for me, it was making so many songs. Like I record myself. And so I made hundreds of songs. So just creating and not being afraid to like experiment with things. And also just get better. Right. So it's, listening to different music, really focusing on myself, even going back and listening to the music that I was creating, picking it apart and really dissecting it and being like, okay, like this can be better. This can be better. And so those are the things that I did. And honestly, like, as far as like the belief and the talent and what I was doing, that's always, that's never left. It's just something like spiritually that feels like it's a part of me. Like when I do music, I almost feel like I'm vibrating on a different frequency. Like I feel like I have like a tingle in my body when I'm in the booth, and it's hard to explain, but it's just like such a part of me. So it's something that like never leaves. But now, I wanted to, with jumping back out into this space, it's like, okay, I want to do this the right way. And there's no real right or wrong way, but for me, I was like, okay, I want to do this. I want to have my business together. I want to have my visuals together. I want to have everything together, and I want to package it well for the people. And then it's my job to ensure that everybody knows that I have put this project out. It's my job to ensure that the streets know. It's my job to ensure that the community knows that here's something that I've created, for us. And now it's no longer mine. It's for everybody.
I like that. Yeah.
So on that,
what's up.
Yes, what's up, Lady Taij, ladies and gentlemen, with her new project, The Awakening, and she will be performing at this year's Soul of Seaville. Like top billing too. You got the Friday night spot, you got the Saturday spot. Like okay, Taij. But Taij, to your point, that you just said about now the art, right? This creation belongs to the people. Like once you put it out there, what's your take on the industry right now? Has your perspective changed on what it means to get signed or to get a deal, right? Because I'm always very weary of that. And like people that I mentor, people who come to ask, me like for advice when like when it comes to the business side of things, like I always tell them, like, be careful what you wish for. Because there's so many ways that you can keep ownership of yourself and your art without compromising, right? Yourself. Most importantly, without compromising your integrity. Right. And like, so I say, be careful, because when you say, I got to get signed, got to get a deal, you don't know sometimes what you got to sacrifice to get that. So I'm curious, like,
Diddy.
hey, it is what it is. Hey, so when you say that now belongs to the people, and you look at the way the industry is nowadays, and you see how like artists barely making a cent to the dollar, on streaming platforms and stuff. Like, so do you feel that like that your art literally should belong to like the free domain, like to the people because it's art, or like do you feel like that the artists, like where do you draw that line when it comes to profiting and ownership?
Oh my gosh, that's such a great question. One of the things is that one of the things that has changed for me from with doing music now and when I was doing music before was when I was doing it before, I was like that starving artist mode. So when I was like doing shows and doing things like that, like making the money from the shows like affected my livelihood, right? And that can affect sometimes of how you put the art out and what you're doing. Now we're in a space where it's a little bit different. I can drop a project. People can, when you're on like social media platforms and things of that nature, like you're not so kind of tied down by a label where they're in full control, and you have more control if you choose to take the independent route. Now it is a lot harder, right? And but I think it's completely worth it. The difference between where I was then and where I am now is like, even in life, I have like elevated, and I have like such a business mindset. Like I've, like I'm a realtor, you know what I'm saying? I'm a director at the place that I work. Business is something I really like love and care about. And so from being in those spaces and like negotiating deals and contracts, you really have an understanding of like, okay, how can I make this profitable for myself? How do I create generational wealth? And so I think the difference is like, okay, do I want to bet on myself and fully go in and put, the earnings that I have to support this? Before I didn't really have as much financial stability. Now I'm in a space where I have more financial stability, and I can actually invest that into my art. And so the reason why I actually even got into real estate was when I was in Atlanta. I was in a mentorship program, and everybody was like, trying to find an investor, trying to find somebody to invest in their art. And I said, oh, I want to be my own investor. Okay. So how can I make the most money with the, and not have to put a crazy amount of time and have more freedom and be able to like financially support the art. So that's actually why I got into real estate to begin with, was so I could be my own investor and hold,
Let me ask you this.
That's awesome.
A lot of times when a lot of what I've learned about music, the back door behind music is what I learned when Charles talks about things, right? Mm-hmm. Would you say that the people, the listener, can only really ingest what the main market wants to put out?
I think that I think that's how it used to be. I think that's
I know
changing.
During my time, like you had to rap about killing somebody, disrespecting our sisters. You had, that's what sold. Mm-hmm. So when you had, Charles, what was that group out of Tennessee?
Like Arrested Development?
When you had socially conscious people wanting to talk about cookouts and having a good time, right? That wasn't sold as much. Our trauma was what was pushed on us for a cheaper price, right?
Yeah.
So and it's still the same way. Like it may just be now about popping Molly and all that kind of stuff. Like, but it's still like, so the content may have changed,
more so
but
for
the
female rapper, for the female artist. Like what do you feel like? Are you able to just say, this is who I am, this is what I want to rap about, this is what I want to talk about, this is what I want to be socially conscious about, and it can be pushed into the platforms where people can enjoy your music? Or do you have to be a Megan? Do you have to be a Kim? Do you have to be in order to get the rotations?
Well, it depends on what your end goal is, right?
Okay.
And I think like that's the thing. I think that that's when I feel like I probably would be a lot further in my music career if I had like bought into some of those things. But like that's something that I just like would choose not to, go down that route, right?
Okay.
But I think that I do think that there's a new wave of female artists, and some of that is definitely being pushed. I think the difference between before, though, and like where we are now is that you can do a little bit more direct to consumer.
Okay.
And so it's like, yes, there's a lot of artists that are actually doing really well, but, a lot of people may not know about it, right? And so it just depends on if you want to be in the mainstream space or not, right? And what are the things you want to give up? So it's like, if I want to go in and, I have this large of a fan base and I want to go do shows and I actually am independent, I actually can probably make more money than if I signed a deal with a label and like went that route. You know what I'm saying? And they're taking such a large chunk with the machine behind them. So, I mean, it really just depends on your perspective, but I do think that things are changing and it's all about what your end goal is and where you want to be.
It's also important. That's a good answer. And it's also important for folks to know like how you can diversify, right? Like your talents and your skills. It's like we were talking before. I think before we went live, like I think we said it on air too. But the artist is like cut is sometimes the smallest out of the whole pie.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So if you have skills writing, you got skills producing, you got skills engineering, whatever the case is, like learn how to diversify that thing. And like you had said something else too. So I think it's a pro and a con. Like, so let me know like what your opinion is. But I think it's a pro and a con to like where we are currently with the way that music is distributed. Because I love the independence. Like I love the free reign. I love the fact that you can be direct to consumer, as you said. But to a certain extent, having a gatekeeper, on the flip side, is a good thing, and it was a good thing. Now, as long as you got hip hop minded A&Rs,
that part
that are those gatekeepers for the record company. You follow what I'm saying? Because you can get a lot of junk too. You know what I mean? Like
we've experienced that. That's very real.
Yeah. So I'm curious on your take on if that's a fair give and take of like we'll take the junk and we'll take the person who may have less talent but does something catchy on TikTok. And they make it. Like, is that a fair trade, or do you feel like having that sort of gatekeeper of a record label was more beneficial?
Well, I think it also depends on what your fan base is, right? Because I think sometimes like people sleep on how smart people actually are, right? And so some folks like, something might go crazy on TikTok and you might go viral, but are they selling out shows?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, do they really have like fans from that one thing? Like, how do you take that and then you actually use that to elevate where you are career wise? You know what I'm saying? So like, those are the things to think about. But I think that also too, again, you have to find your people as an artist, right? So it's like, this is the music I want to make. This is what feels true to me. And so what my job is, along with like making sure people know about the music that I'm putting out, my job is to find the people that my music like locks in with, right? And so once you find enough of those people, then you're cooking and then you're in the right space, and and that continues to grow. So I think, I mean, it is pros and cons with it, but at the end of the day, like, again, there's a lot of, artists that aren't really the greatest that put a lot of music out, but it's also like on what consumers choose to listen to.
So wait a minute, both of y'all are into the music. Let me ask y'all a direct question. I need both of y'all to answer this. So the way I heard it is that it's okay to sell out as long as it's a tool for something else. Like you said, what is your end goal? So if my end goal is to create generational wealth, buy houses and send my kids off to become doctors, I'm going to be like, not Fabulous. What's dude? He always rap like he getting high, but they say he don't do nothing. Future. Right? So it's supposedly Future. So if you listen to this, get out my face because I don't think you can fight. But if that's my end goal, is to come out here and act like this. Tupac said it too. My life didn't become my reality until I sung about it, and then everybody made that my reality. So if that's my choice, is it okay to sell out at that point and become what the big machine, as y'all called it, wants me to be?
I think it's a slippery slope. I'm sorry. You mind?
Yeah, but no. Is it okay? Yes or no?
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. To me, it's a very slippery slope, because I feel like that I personally, my music taste, feel like that it's not okay because of the current dynamic. Now, I'm cool when people say, well, it's just entertainment. It's entertainment. Right. But my issue, though, there is that we need to balance it. And I do feel like that's one of the good things about the landscape now on, like, if you really want something, you can go get it. So my point, though, is that I feel like that if we were able to give the conscious rap or like to give the, like the lyricism, like the same fair ground that we give, I guess you could say, like the negative stuff, right? Or like the demeaning stuff. Then I would be more okay with us saying, well, that's just entertainment. We get that because we're balancing it like with something that's good, so that we can separate the two. The issue now is that I feel like all they push is a certain narrative, like certain lyrical content.
I agree.
And so that makes people think that this is all hip hop is. And that makes little kids think this is what I got to be. This is who I should look up to. So we just got to balance it, in my opinion.
Yeah.
What about you, Taij?
Well, I think also too, like, people aren't really making so much money in music. So it's like you use music as like, the place, like your starting point. And then you use that to be like, okay, now I'm gonna do a Popeyes deal, or now I'm gonna get these endorsements, and now I'm gonna get like all this money outside of that. Do I think it's okay to sell out? I think it's also where, like, where's your moral compass, right? Like, where do you fall on that? And like, what feels right and what doesn't feel right? Some people might feel okay making that sacrifice. But some, folks might hold a little stronger to that and be like, nah, I'm not rocking with that. So I think, I do think it is a very slippery slope. I completely agree. But I think it just all is like what feels right to you. But what I say, is it okay to sell out? I don't think it's ever okay to sell out. Me personally, that's how I feel about it. But I mean, you got to do what you got to do, what's best for you in your situation.
Yeah. And what's your definition too? I would say, because if an artist is told that, hey, if you, let's say that an artist is told, hey, like, I like this song from you, let's do more like that. Then I feel like that's just you as an artist making a decision, like to make a certain type of art. Now, I think that's opposite of if somebody is like, hey, we don't like nothing about you, we need you to be this and act like this and pretend this. Then to me, like, that's like a whole nother ballgame.
Wait a minute, Charles. I got called foul. Didn't we have a problem with the fact that they wanted Dave Chappelle to be able to say the N-word, but he couldn't say things that pertain to other nationalities? I know you and I both have. So how can you say that the way that I interpreted it was that you said, we want you to push this type of your music, but don't go to the other? That sounds like the same thing. Selling out is selling out.
I mean, I think it's perspective, but I know. I think it's perspective, because if it's part of you, then to me that's not selling out, versus somebody's trying to re-image you and make you something that you're not.
So if you say it, it's part of you. I don't know that I agree with that.
Yeah, possibly. Like take Nas for instance. Like remember when Jay-Z dissed him? Like Jay-Z said, "Is it Black Girl Lost or Shorty Owe You for Ice?" So like those are both dynamics of Nas. I think Nas's longevity is because he's been able again to balance what's entertainment.
Yeah.
But he's so conscious that we also let him get by with that because we're like, yeah, he's also gonna feed us too.
But there's also what you do and who you are.
Yeah.
And those aren't always the same things. Because then, you know what I'm saying? I might make a mistake and people on my side might say, man, let's extend them some grace and mercy. But the person who went through whatever I caused was like, nah, that's not grace and mercy. He made a choice.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
You know, the whole thing about Kendrick blowing up Drake, it makes me think of 50 and Ja Rule, where it's like we were just looking for a reason not to like him. We didn't know why we didn't like him.
Yeah, you're right.
But it was like, oh yeah, that's why we don't feel right about that. You know what I mean? So I kind of feel like this, you know.
But one thing I was going to say too, though, even talking about like the consciousness and like music, but when we think about like this conversation around the top 3 artists, they're all like lyrically like dope artists. You know what I'm saying? When you think about J. Cole, you think about Kendrick, you think about Drake. And I think that is also when you think about that separation, if we look at hip hop as a whole, all of the other stuff that's not really, you know, that folks don't feel like is the great, it's not really getting all the way to that specific level of like, okay, these are our top rappers right now, and all of them do bring lyricism, you know what I'm saying? So I think it's still important, it still matters, and something I still hold true to.
Gotcha. Thank you.
This is Max joining the conversation late, so I'm back here giggling on the inside because Sexy Red is an easy target for me, right? So I'm always finding a way to work her into our conversation, and this one just fits perfectly. No, but I wanted to ask, and pardon me if y'all have already covered this, but
we have not covered Sexy Red.
Well, on a serious note, how female rap artists you believe have changed the industry? Just get your opinion on that. Whether or not it's for the better, whether or not it's they blazing new trails, and then again, what about your thoughts about the type of things that they're rapping about, particularly Sexy Red, and how that hurts the consumers?
Man, that's a loaded question. Okay. Yeah, there's a lot to break down there. I think, well, a few different things. One, with music, like you make music for different moods and different times, right? So I think some of the music that like we are getting from some of our female artists are for like the turn up, you know what I'm saying? So as we even talk about like the conscious hip hop or the conscious rap, it's also about like, when do you listen to music? When do you want to listen to that? And where do you want to listen to it? Where do you want to consume the music, right? There has to be a space for all of those things. I think what's happening right now though, and what I am actually very thankful of, is like there is more female artists that's out, because it's always had just been like mostly like Nicki, you know what I'm saying? And like that was it.
Like Nicki and Queen.
Right, exactly. But also I think people, as we talk about like as we talk about Sexy Red, like I don't think there's an artist that I love and adore so much, which is Rhapsody, which I don't think we talk enough about, right? And I think even the difference right now with Rhapsody, like she just put out a project and like she is like showing up more and being in these spaces more, and you know what I'm saying? And I think like creating that type of music is also there, and it's also in the space. But it's also, I mean, what does it do for the consumer that's taking in the music? I mean, again, it depends on like, is it making you get through your day? You know what I'm saying? Like after you've had a long day of work, like do you get in the car and you be like, all right, I'm gonna turn up and get loose a little bit, you know what I'm saying? And then you keep it pushing. So I don't really judge those artists. I think that again, it's a different time and a different place, and we have different artists for different things.
I'm with you 100% on that. With you 100%. Yeah, great answer. Because like to me, it's like where I draw the line is again how I said earlier on how there's no balance, right? It's like we get pushed that this is what's hot. And I think like real like hip hop heads be like, that ain't really hot. But at the same time, like you said, I totally get it. If we turn it up in the club, throw some Sexy Red on, right? You know what I mean? Like so that makes sense. But don't put her in a category with a Rhapsody. You know what I mean? It's like so yeah. But yeah, we are talking to Lady Taij, ladies and gentlemen. And as we said, Taij, you are performing at Soul of Seville. Talk to us a little bit about that. How did that come about? Because you've been on a hella press run. I mean, like the rollout for this album been nothing short of special. So how did the Soul of Seville, which is next week, y'all, August 16th and 17th, for us, by us. Shouts out to everybody. But how did that come to be, and what does that mean to be a part of the Soul of Seville?
Let me tell you something. I have last year when Solo Stevo happened, I was like, I had been keeping my eye on it because I was like, I really want to be a part of this thing, and I am waiting for it to roll around this, this go around. So I couldn't wait to like jump on the opportunity. But really, honestly, like when I knew that it was coming up, and I was actually talking to one of my friends in the community, Shamor Cooper. We shout out to Shamor.
Yeah, shouts out.
And I was like, who do you know? Like, who's putting this thing together? I really want to perform this thing. And that's why, manifesting is very important, and she had told me about Kalila and put me in touch with her. And so I had reached out to her, sent her my music, and she was really supportive of it, really excited about it. And really that's how that like came about, to the point to where one of the songs that I shared with her, she reached back out to me and was like, I would love for you to perform this at the award ceremony, which is really dope.
Okay.
And then also too, with like the Best in Black, and also winning Best Female Hip Hop Artist this year, which is like such a dope feeling.
Talk your ish, Taij.
It's like the timing couldn't be any better. I will say that. But it's such a great feeling. But like honestly, too, being in a space and like, this year, like it's all about Black excellence, and I'm like, oh, like this is my like we talking to my spirit, right? Like this is something I have to be a part of. So I'm so grateful to be somewhere where there is a space created like for us, you know what I'm saying? The for us bias. That's for us, but also like representation is so important. So it's like for the, the next generation that's like coming to like see, female rappers in the space and performing, and to like uplift like these entrepreneurs and like these Black businesses and all the things that are happening. I honestly feel so blessed to be in the space, but it also feels so right,
Yeah, that's what.
So y'all come on out. I'm looking forward to that,
Yes, indeed, ladies and gentlemen, none other than Lady Taij, new project out, The Awakening. Taij, like any last words, any last plugs on that project, and other stuff that you have coming up as well. If there's other performances or where people can check you out, but make sure they know how to see you and get that album.
Yeah. So again, The Awakening is out right now. You definitely want to stream and download that. I'm dropping videos, so make sure you follow me on all my social media platforms at LadyTaij. That's Lady Taij. I'm also going to be performing at Stanton Jams Festival. So next month I'm going to be at Stanton Jams, and I'm kind of on that press run right now, so I'm kind of here, there, a little bit of everywhere. But y'all make sure y'all lock in with me. And The Awakening is out. It's great music, and there's more to come. So I'll be looking forward to coming back and having more conversations.
Good stuff.
IMHO Talk Show.